Hello and welcome. Let's see, if you're on the phone, we're still waiting for a few more people, but if you're in the chat, maybe you can just let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so we're recording. You guys can hear me. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the 2019 Healthy Whole You Kickoff Call. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit tonight about gut health. So some of you may have seen the Facebook Live that I did with Dr. Kessler today. Dr. Kessler and I have a partnership through Caden Institute, and I am his lead health and wellness and life coach. And so I was able to get him to do a live call with me today just to talk a little bit about gut health from a functional medicine perspective. So if you didn't get to see it, we're going to talk a little bit about what he shared tonight. Plus, you can see the video on Facebook if you go and just check out. We recorded it at noon today, so you can go to my business page or the Facebook group, the Holistic, with a W, Healthy Lifestyle community page, or Jen Mons, the Holistic Coach. So today, when Dr. Kessler and I were on the phone together, the reason I wanted to have him come on and talk about gut health, because from a holistic perspective in medicine, the gut is the foundation for health and well-being. So we know that 80% of our neurotransmitters are in the gut, our immunity starts in the gut, and today we shared a lot of how symptoms from an imbalanced gut can show up. In fact, when Dr. Kessler asked me to come work for him, one of the first things that I did was take his gut health training course, which I was already familiar with because it's a huge part of nutrition, but it is one of the foundations of functional medicine. So we're going to just go over what we talked about today because it is an important component, and it ties into what we're going to be doing over the next 4 weeks. So when I was on the call with him today, I asked him to share with me why the gut is the foundation, and he shared the many different ways that we can test for it, the symptoms that come up when we have an imbalance in the gut, and also action steps that we can take to improve gut health. So what he shared with me, which I had already known and was in alignment with, it's just really great to hear coming from a doctor's perspective, is that the symptoms that come up when we have an imbalance in our gut are not just related to the gut. So oftentimes we think that if we have some symptoms in the gut because we have an unhealthy gut, that it shows up as bloating or diarrhea or irritable bowel syndrome or irregular bowels or gas and things like that. But what he shared with me, with all of the listeners today, is that an imbalance in the gut affects all parts of the body. It creates hormonal imbalance. It creates mood swings. It creates, we just got one more person on. So it creates an imbalance in neurotransmitters in our brain and the way it communicates with the brain. It creates discomfort in the body. So an imbalance in the gut affects our entire body, not just discomfort in the gut. So we talked a little bit about that today, and then we also talked about how it kind of goes back and forth. The imbalance in our hormones and in our mood and stress creates an imbalance in the gut. So an imbalance in the gut creates mood swings, and then an imbalance in our stress and in our lives also creates an imbalance in the gut. So they go together. So I love that he came on today and talked about that, because what we're going to be doing in the next 4 weeks is talking a lot about reducing stress, creating a healthy mindset so that we can reduce those chemicals that are creating a more acidic environment in the gut. So we learned that our gut imbalance, which is the foundation of our health, is not just about the food we eat, but it's about the thoughts that we have, the amount of stress that we have in our lives, our hormonal balance or imbalance, however that shows up. So he shared the symptoms, how that can show up in our body. It can show up as brain fog, hormonal imbalance, PMS, weight gain, mood swings, achy joints, and things like that. So we know that in the big picture, a lot of the things that we're dealing with that make us uncomfortable might be coming from an unhealthy gut. And then we talked about how stress and our emotional relationship to our health and well-being, as well as to our bodies and to food that we eat. Because if you're going to eat kale salad and it's going to be torture for you, then you might as well just not even eat it. Like so here's my green juice. I'm being fueled by green juice. But if you're drinking this, like this is torture, don't do it, because there's an energy behind the thought and the emotion that goes with your body as you're ingesting food. So having a healthy relationship with food is important too. And what we talked about on the call today is everybody has comfort foods that they had from when they were a kid, and that's okay to do it every once in a while. But if your comfort foods are foods that cause inflammation, such as ice cream and lots of chocolate and cake and bags of potato chips, and you're doing them all the time and noticing a pattern, then that's when it starts to create inflammation in the gut, potentially creating leaky gut syndrome is what we talked about. That's really the medical term for the inflammation in the gut. So just being mindful of, having that 80-20 rule or 70-30 rule that I always talk about when I'm with clients, and just kind of having it in check a little bit. And when we know the beliefs and the emotional attachment to food, when we can recognize it, and then we can manage it. So we don't let it take over us. We don't let it have control over us. So we talked about, we talked about the symptoms, we talked about how it shows up, and then we talked about the tests that we do as far as functional medicine goes and how it's different. What we do is we test for things like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, candida, a hormonal imbalance and stress, because that also has an impact on your gut health and an imbalance in the gut. So these types of testing, this awareness is like a whole new awareness. The functional medicine approach is a lot less invasive. He shared the story of a patient who had gut issues for years and would go to a specialist. And we do encourage you that you still go to your specialist, but had a specialist for years and was doing all kinds of colonoscopies and testing. And all we needed was a simple stool test to determine that there was some type of underlying pathogen or bacteria that was dormant sometimes, but then if there was an environmental exposure to an environmental toxin or stress, any of those things can create more acidity in the body, then it starts to liven up those underlying pathogens again. So he shared the story of a simple tool test, gave him the answer that this young man had a parasite and a bacteria that was actually creating an ulcer that he didn't know about. That was the starting point to be able to help him to heal his gut. And he had done many invasive procedures over the course of 10 years. Some of you may remember in my Health Telesummit last May, I hosted a different functional medicine doctor, Dr. Carolyn Masiri, who shared with us that she used to be a surgeon she was a GI surgeon, and she realized that all she was doing was just treating the symptom, just cutting out, parts of people's intestines just to help them feel better. And she finally realized that she wasn't helping anybody long-term. So she chose to study functional medicine instead to help people understand the root cause. So that was what we talked about today. And so what I'm going to share with you tonight is the 4 steps that Dr. Kessler shared at the end of our Facebook Live call today is exactly what we're doing over the next 4 weeks. So the 4 things that we talked about are reducing stress, having a healthy mindset, having a healthy emotional relationship with your body, and then of course eating whole food, a whole food based diet. So not really getting attached to any type of trendy diet or fad or any type of supplement, because what we believe is that no one supplement can work for everybody. No one type of diet or trend is going to work for everybody. But when we keep it simple and we eat whole foods with a lot of vegetables and with mostly plant-based, but it doesn't have to be totally plant-based. In this program, I'm going to share with you what's new this year is that you have a vegetarian option and an omnivore option. So because it's going to look different for everybody, but most importantly, reducing the sugar, reducing the processed foods, and reducing the stress, creating a healthy mindset, creating emotional empowerment to create those changes. And of course, last week, we're going to talk about mindful movement and what that looks like. So just creating some movement in your body to also help release toxins and to increase the mood. That's what happens when we do movement. You can call this exercise, but you can also call it a walk on the beach, or riding your bike around the neighborhood, or walking your dog, or dancing with your kids, whatever it looks like for you. Just creating some type of movement in your daily, or at least a couple times a week. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So for those of you that are part of the upcoming group coaching program, and I don't know everybody who's on here, there might be some of you that are interested in joining, but you're not sure. Either way, I'm going to go through the program tonight to show everybody how it works. So if you're on this call and you're not a part of the program, I'll put that link in the box. And if you're not a part of the program, for those of you that are on the call, I am sharing the Gut Rebuild program, which is a program that was created to help you to use food to bring back some healthy gut bacteria into your system. Because what happens is, well, in this country, we like to overprescribe antibiotics for many, many different things. It's prescribed for acne, it's prescribed for colds, it's prescribed for and totally unnecessary for ear infections. And every time we do that, we're wiping out the healthy gut bacteria in our gut. So a way that we can bring that healthy bacteria back into our gut, because it kills the good and the bad. So we want to bring the good back in, is what you'll learn in this Gut Rebuild program, which is also a new addition to this Healthy Whole You program for the year. Is at the end of our 4 weeks, you get the 3-day Gut Rebuild program to help you learn some new ways to re-inoculate a healthy gut. So what we say is we want to remove the inflammatory foods, we want to nourish the gut, and once we remove the toxins in the gut that are creating inflammation, then we can add some healthy gut bacteria back in. So yes, there is healthy gut bacteria. If this is new to you, that's what a probiotic is, but we can also do it through foods. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to screen share, and this might just take a minute. I'm going to screen share my screen with you on what you're going to see when you join the program that helps you address stress, because we have weekly guided meditations included with this program. We're going to talk about stress. Week 1 is going to be all about committing to change. And so we'll just go through that right now. So I want to make sure that you guys have been able to access your program the right way, because you may not know what is available. So how this works is you go to my website, and at the bottom of my website, you can see the footer down here. I'm logged in as my husband. So there's a membership login at the bottom, and you create your email and password. If there's a forget password, if you don't know the password, just hit that and you can create a new one. When you signed up, you should have received an email to create a password, and you should have received a welcome email. Throughout the course of the program, every Sunday, you will receive an email for each week. So week 1 for us is going to start this Sunday, which is Super Bowl Sunday. And we will have our group coaching calls right here with this link on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. So the week will start on Sunday. Our group coaching calls will be every Wednesday for the whole month of February. And so each week we're going to talk about our weekly topic. And it's also a chance to answer questions, but more importantly, it's a chance to get some coaching from me. So I don't have a lot of availability in my calendar to do one-on-one coaching. I save it specifically for my private coaching clients. And so this is just a really great chance. If there's a challenge or a block that's showing up for you, if you're willing, let's get to it. You can send me a message ahead of time and we can coach you through the process, because here's the thing. As we do this together, there's probably somebody else who's experiencing the same thing that you are. And so what I've noticed over the years is that when you share something that is present for you, you're probably not alone. And this is the beauty in a group coaching program. So once you log on to the website, down at the bottom of the footer down here, you're going to come to this page. This is your home page. So this is your welcome page. The way that it works is that each week, the week before, you get access to each of these weeks at the top. So this, of course, I have access to all 4 weeks right now. Each of you will get, you will have access to weeks 1 and 2 by this Sunday. Right now, you may only have access to week 1. So this is the welcome page. You can scroll down. Here's where you join the Facebook community, Holistic Healthy Lifestyle Community. And then here you get to choose, upon request, vegetarian or omnivore recipes for the whole program. So we're just really encouraging whole food diet during this whole program. Click this link right here or this picture for your bonus handouts, which are just yours to use and to learn throughout the program. Those are the ones like, should I go grain-free? How to eat out healthy? What's the right protein for me? There's just some bonus material in there for you to take a look at throughout the whole program. So once we get started on week 1, you come up here and you click on week 1. So some people didn't even know that you could click these and get to the different weeks. So I wanted to share this with you. So each week you're going to get an ebook, which is really the heart and soul of this program. This is really where we dive deep to discover self-limiting beliefs that show up. We get really clear on creating healthy boundaries. Sorry, I'm seeing messages here. We're getting really clear on creating healthy boundaries on what it is that we want to do. Oh, hold on. I can only see a small strip on my page. Maybe it's me. Okay, so let me see. Let me try this again. I appreciate you guys joining in the chat. So the share, let's see. Is this any better? Oops, that's the wrong page. All right, guys, so let me see, can somebody say if this is any, if it's any better? In the chat box, can you see any more? Helen, do you see more than you're the only one on video. Maybe you can join in on the chat box. Can you see this? Can you let me know? Oh, here, I'm gonna unmute you. Hey, do you see the full page, or do you see just a little strip?
Yes, I think, can you not see we were texting you. Can you see the text?
I can, and I can see that you can't see the whole page.
Oh,
Is
but
that still true?
yeah, we text you back. It says yes, better. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay. So you can see the full page now?
Yeah. I guess
Okay, cool.
yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna mute you again then. Thank you. I didn't see the text come back. I don't know why. Okay, so this is what week 1 looks like. So when you come to week 1, this is your ebook Commit to Change. This is the topic we're going to talk about. We're going to create the framework. So on Facebook Live this week, you may have heard me talk about creating the framework for a program. Creating the framework, committing to the time, is the most important piece of this program. If we do not take the time to do this, it will be harder to commit to doing this process. As we go through this program, we are looking at going through it 1 week at a time. So we're just taking it 1 week at a time. So week 1, commit to change. We're going to get really clear on what our commitment looks like. And there's no right or wrong. There's no judgment. This is for you. You can share it because it helps to keep accountable. What is your commitment to change something in your health and well-being for this upcoming week? So it could be something like, I'm going to drink more water. It could be something like, I'm going to commit 1 hour a week to batch cook. It could be something like, I'm going to commit 10 minutes a night to read this ebook. It could be something like, I'm going to commit to looking through the recipe guide to see what I might be interested in. So for those of you that are on the call, if you're able to type in the chat box, I'm going to invite you to share what is one thing that you're willing to commit to for our first week next week. I'd just love to hear what you come up with. And there's no right or wrong. And as you come to week 1, so on the welcome page, you downloaded either your vegetarian or omnivore recipe guide. You can download both, but you pick which one. And then as you come to week 1, you choose your shopping list. You click on the image, shopping list for vegetarian and meal plan or omnivore. So as I click here, you can see it automatically goes to my downloads. I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Okay, hopefully when I come back, you can still see the screen. So I go to my downloads and look, I've got my bonus stuff. I got week 1 vegetarian. So I'm going to open that up. You see you have the suggested meals. So there's a meal plan that makes it really nice and easy. It didn't used to be this way. I love when I get input from other people. So we created a template. You can post this on your refrigerator. So that's the meal plan. And then here, let's see, this is probably, here's the shopping list. So I tell you exactly what you need. And some of the stuff you're already gonna have in your pantry. You don't have to go buy new stuff. If there's something you don't know what it is, ask the question in the Facebook group. So these are just suggested things to buy. Now, if some of this is new to you, you don't have to buy it all. You can look through the recipes to see what you like. If some of this is new to you, you don't have to try it. For me, there's no extra added expense for the groceries except for the produce and the protein. So as you begin to build your healthy cabinets, some of these things might be new. Again, you don't have to buy them all. They're for the recipe, so look through the recipes. But some of the things that could be new that might cost a little extra are going to be the herbs and spices. So just look through them and see what you like. By now, you should know what kind of flavors you like too. So if there's something if you're not a curry person, don't do the curry recipe. It's okay. And by the way, I get asked the question, do I have to share. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing the transformation shopping guide right now? No. Okay, let me see how to bring this to the front. All right, well, I'll just go ahead and reduce that back down. Somehow I have to bring it to the front. You can see this though, right? My website. So you'll see when you download, you'll look at the meal plans and the shopping list. So let's go to week 2. So week 2 is going to be food focused. This is where we dive really deep and get a little bit into the seasonal cleanse program. If you've ever done that with me, we're going to talk a lot more about how food affects your specific body. So that's really the focus of this week, is to start to understand a couple of things about our eating habits. Are we eating when we're hungry? Are we not eating when we're too busy? How does food make us feel? And we're just getting really in touch with being really present and bringing awareness to how food makes us feel in our body. So that's really the focus for week 2, is learning how to eat right for your, I like to call it, healthy blueprint. So your body, your lifestyle, that's going to be what week 2 is about. And again, a new meal plan and a new shopping list for each week. So this is just whole food eating, you guys. We're reducing sugar, reducing processed foods, reducing or eliminating gluten and dairy just for this particular program. But if you can reduce it, that's good. Starting to reduce some of the foods that cause inflammation, sticking to a whole food diet. So more whole grains, vegetables, some fruits, and your source of protein. Any questions so far? I'm making superfood balls this week. That's awesome. That's like my staple. You want to commit to reading the recipe book and trying one each day. Wow, that's awesome, Jana. Resist the free food at work. Yeah, it's always hard to resist free food when somebody's cooking for you. I know. So one of the things that Helen said, Jana, that this is like my savior. If you look for the superfood ball recipes, and you can also find more in the Facebook group. Those are like, I just made some for my last workshop and everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe these are healthy. Like, give me the recipe. And it's like, yep, you can like put like so many things, and you could make like a couple hundred at a time and freeze them. And whenever you get that sugar craving or salt craving or whatever, yeah, let me know what you think, Jana, because I have a ton of different recipes for different flavors. Somebody asked me to make a pizza flavored one, and I've been thinking about how to do that. A savory one, because most of them are a little bit on the sweeter side, because it's usually some type of nut butter and honey. But once you figure it out, you can really start to make your own. So, but those are like clutch. They're like a staple for me. When if I get a craving, I just reach for those and then I'm good to go. So week 3, the art of self-love. So you come in here and you click on week 3. So just so you know, every week, every Sunday, you're going to come in and click what week you're on, so that, because there's some new topic for each week. And then you'll receive an email each week that's going to have a guided meditation. It's going to have some information about the week. My computer is a little slow right now. And so you'll all have week 3, and then week 4 we get finally to mindful movement, where we're going to talk a lot about eating to fuel your workout. What kind of workout or movement is best for you? So, because what I find with many women is that they would rather over exercise than eat healthy, when the truth is that if you eat healthy, you don't have to overburden your body with too much exercise. And yes, that is possible. And I know Helen is a fitness trainer. She's also a nutritionist. And we both know, we've talked a lot about how eating healthy is the foundation for everything. So really finding that healthy balance in movement is what we're going to talk about in the 4th week. So as you can see from where we started at the beginning of the call, where we learned about our gut health is also impacted by our stress. We're going to talk about that during weeks 1 and 3, how to de-stress and talk about different ways to put ourselves first. We're going to have guided meditations. Because what happens, like we talked about in the beginning of the call, is the stress creates chemicals that are acidic, create an acidic environment for our gut. And so we want to be alkaline. So coming back to the beginning of the call, we're reducing stress in weeks 1 and 3, commit to change, the art of self-love. We are aware of our emotional relationship with food. We can work through any maybe self-limiting beliefs that might show up. I've done some really good Facebook Live calls on that recently. How the way that we show up in life based on some belief that we've created because maybe something happened to us when we were a kid. We created a belief that either maybe we're not good enough, or we're not lovable, or we're not safe, or that we're helpless, or that we want to be seen, we want to be acknowledged. Those types of beliefs show up in our health habits as well. And so some of that might come up for us during the program. And if it does, I encourage you to send a message and be willing to get coached by me. It's, as you can see, a smaller group of ladies. I think we have maybe eight new people this year. I have about 10 people that have joined me over the last 8 years that are wanting to come back and join again because it's lifetime access. So usually on calls, we have somewhere between 5 and 7 people. So it's a really great chance if you have a question to just, put in a request to work through it together, and it'll probably help somebody else. So the healthy mindset, the emotional empowerment, reducing the stress, and creating those healthy habits from a place of compassion and self-love. That's what's so different about this program. It's, while we're doing this, we are also continuing to nourish ourselves with whole foods. So you have the recipes to continue eating with whole foods, reducing inflammation. You'll have a shopping list for each week. You'll have a suggested meal matrix, which is super nice for those of you that love to be super uber organized, and recipes to choose from. You'll have guidance and support to ask your questions. And like I said, each week I just really encourage you to download these ebooks. It's probably the thing that gets forgotten the most. And without the ebooks, this is just a whole food. You could just do Whole30. This is a whole food program that teaches you to eat healthy. But the real change in this program happens with these ebooks. And so the questions that we're going to ask and discuss on each call are going to be some of the questions that are in the ebooks. So really, the first week, our call will be next Wednesday. We're going to discuss some of the questions that came up in our week 1 Commit to Change. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time to ask. I appreciate you guys being on the call, letting me know what you could see and couldn't see, letting me know what your commitment is. I love that. And so we're just here to support each other and answer your questions. So thank you for joining me. If you don't have any questions, if something comes up, just send me a message. You can put a question in the Facebook group. That's the preferred method, because if you have the question, somebody else probably does too. And we will see each other next Wednesday, but we will be live in the Facebook group on Sunday. So in the Facebook group, we'll be talking about what the goal is for the week. What I will be asking you what your commitment is, just to have you declare it and say it out loud, because when we do that, it helps to put it in action, because we're taking that first step by declaring what we want to commit to. So we'll be live in the Facebook group on Sunday, and then we'll have our call for next week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. If you have any questions about accessing your program, please send me a message, and I look forward to joining you guys on this journey this year. You're welcome. Thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful night. I can't hear you, but I saw you. I like your face, Helen. That's awesome. Oh, there you are. Now she's laughing. All right. Thanks, guys. Love you guys. Have a good night. And we'll be live in the Facebook group, and I'll see you guys on the call next Wednesday with your questions and your commitments for the week to change. We're creating the framework to commit to change for next week. So have a wonderful night. Good night.
Night.
Oh, I'm going to share the link before I go to the gut rebuild for those who are not in the program. If you're in the program, you're already going to get this. That's just the freebie if you're not in the 28-day program. So, all right, guys, have a good night.